Sweet Home recently dropped its new season, and it's an understatement to say it left us with a few questions. There's no denying that the most burning question viewers have after watching this season is, what exactly is Ah Yi? She's one of the new characters introduced this season as she's Yi Kyung's daughter, and her existence in itself raises a lot of questions. She was born with special abilities, making her a new addition to the list of creatures in the Sweet Home universe. As the story progressed, things got more and more confusing, and by the end of this season it became really unclear what exactly Ah Yi is capable of doing. She was born looking like a regular human, but with one touch she can see other people's inner dreams and biggest desires. While that's already impressive enough, at some point we learn she's also able to infect the people she touches, turning them into monsters. They don't just become regular monsters though, because it seems like Ah Yi is also able to speak to them, and she can even control them in some ways to make them do things for her. The fact that Ah Yi has these abilities is incredibly shocking because it goes against everything we thought we knew so far about the monsters from Sweet Home. She's able to turn others into monsters, which is strange because prior to her appearance, the show made us believe that the monsters couldn't be controlled. The monsterization process was believed to be caused by the human soul rebelling against its vessel, turning a human into a monster when their inner desires finally take over. This makes very little sense in Ah Yi's case though, since she's the first ever monster born from a human. Yi Kyung's process of turning into a monster only adds to the confusion. We saw that Ah Yi turned her own mother into a monster, but she didn't fully transform. Yi Kyung fought the process by having a strong will, causing only half her body to turn. This suggests that a person with a strong will and high morals can actually fight the monsterization process, which isn't something we've seen before. All this new information makes you wonder how the monsterization process actually works, since these cases kind of debunk everything we thought we knew about it. It's also still left unanswered how Ah Yi became a special type of monster in the first place. During this season, we saw Yi Kyung tearfully confess to Hyun-soo that she believes her inner desires forced her daughter to be born a monster. However, there's about zero confirmation that this is true. We already mentioned that the logistics of these monsters is very much still a gray area, so it's not clear how exactly she turned. There's a very big possibility that in Ah Yi's case, Yi Kyung's fiancé Sangwon had something to do with it. Considering that Yi Kyung was pregnant before the outbreak and Sangwon was kept as an experiment somewhere, he's probably somehow involved in the outbreak. It could be that Yi Kyung's birth was accelerated when she found Sangwon in the lab. Throughout the show, it became pretty clear that Yi Kyung's biggest wish was finding her fiancé alive and well. This might have somehow interfered with the development of her baby, but these are all just theories since we didn't really get a clear answer. Speaking of monsters, this season made it very unclear what they're actually supposed to be. Now this sounds vague, but let us explain. This season introduced us to quite a few new monsters, and we've learned that they're supposed to represent someone's biggest desires. We also saw they live in groups, suggesting that they're able to coexist. In season 1, we already saw that not all monsters are necessarily evil, since in some instances they actually help humans. However, a big complaint from viewers has been that this season it wasn't as clear what the monsters were supposed to represent. Like we mentioned earlier, in season 1 they obviously were the reflection of someone's inner desire, and this was consistent throughout all episodes. This time around, it looked like the creators of the show abandoned that idea a bit, as fans argued the monsters looked more like Transformers instead of the production of greed and desire. This season also hinted at the possibility that monsters have the ability to evolve, since the characters come across a special monster that shows signs of potential self-control. This is yet another new addition to the plot that's left unexplored. Hopefully season 3 will provide some answers on what the abilities of these monsters are and how their different species work. To combat the outbreak, Dr. Lim was seeking to make vaccines with the help of monster humans such as Hyun-soo. It's unclear what exactly his plan was though, because we don't know how he hurt his previous test subjects. His goal this season was to capture Hyun-soo to torment him like a lab rat and develop a vaccine. Hyun-soo is special because he's able to resist temptation, making him immune to the monsterization process. However, with this logic, that seems more of a mental process than something that an antidote can cure. It's said that Dr. Lim attempted to make vaccines by studying the regenerative abilities of the monster humans, but it's unclear what he actually did with these potential vaccines. When we're talking about loose ends, we can't forget to mention Hye-in, the lady with the dog whom we all were rooting for in season 1. Both she and her dog disappeared without a trace, and it's unclear what happened to them. There's no denying that season 2 was a bit chaotic, so at some point you lose track of all the characters you're introduced to. In the first episode, we watch as her dog runs away, which we don't see again. The last time we saw Hye-in was in the stadium, but after it collapses, she shows no signs of life. If we don't see her again in season 3, she either passed away when the stadium was bombed, or she ran off to find her dog. What we also don't know is what secrets Chief Ji and Sergeant Tak were hiding. They were two of the most interesting new additions to the series who helped keep things in order. murder. However, as the show progresses, we find out they have something to hide. Tak was slowly but surely turning into a monster, which is something he was trying to hide. Ji already suspected this though, but she just couldn't prove it. She wasn't innocent herself either because she was scheming from the beginning. Ji was secretly sheltering a monster, but no one knows why. What we do know is that she didn't want anyone to find out at any cost, which is why she tricked Sungwon and left him to be eaten. The most logical theory is that this monster is actually Ji's husband, who once attacked Yoon-yu. Another moment in this season that left viewers a bit dumbfounded was when Hyun-soo returned without a scratch after his battle with Uim-young. During their fight, Wee stabs Hyun-soo underneath his wing, causing it to decay and turn into ash. Before you know it, Hyun-soo literally starts to disintegrate, making viewers fear for his life. We watch as he gets crushed by the door before the scene gets cut. Later on, Hyun-soo is proven to be alive, but it remains unknown how this even happened after that dramatic scene. Something that probably shocked everyone is the return of Lee Do-hyun in the season finale, especially since he wasn't wearing any clothes, leaving the visuals imprinted on our minds for a long time. However, someone should really explain what his reveal at the end means for the show because it left absolutely everyone confused. It's pretty obvious that they decided to make him appear at the end to build suspense for the third season, but it would have been nice if they explained where he came from, what he is, and why it took so long for him to come back. His return confirms that he survived the tragic events from season 1, which left us thinking he didn't make it out. Since he literally came out of a cocoon, it's clear that he's now a monster, but the confusing part is that he's still in his human form. The ending of season 2 revealed that the monster cocoons at the green home and at the lab are monsters who never fully turned. But that doesn't really explain how Yoon-hyuk managed to get reborn. The best explanation is that the final form of monsterization is to hatch back as a human that has no humanity left. Fans claim that Yoon-hyuk will become some sort of special monster, or even a leader that's able to control other monsters in season 3. When he walks out of his cocoon, none of the monsters even attempt to get close to him, and his gaze seems really sinister, hinting that he's about to become something that we haven't seen yet. What also seriously needs to be discussed is the role of the mysterious man in the black suit who appears in the final episode. He gets introduced in the final minutes of this season and is located at the old research facility where he seems to be imprisoning survivors and running tests on them. Not only that, it also looks like he has control over the monster humans somehow. He's probably going to get a more prominent role in season 3, and he might actually be the one to figure out how the monsterization process actually works. Lastly, another aspect of this show that needs to be answered has everything to do with Hyun-soo's humanity. We watch him battle his inner monster throughout the entire season, but does he manage to stay human by the end? When Ah-yi turns Yi-kyung into a monster, Hyun-soo is the one left to fight her. Through her dreams, Hyun-soo realizes that she's been in agony for ages now. He comes to terms with the fact that she won't be able to control the monster inside her and is forced to take her life. It leaves him exhausted and probably triggers something deep inside of him because when Yoon-yu goes to check on him, she finds an entirely different person. Hyun-soo's eyes are blue, indicating that it's not him but his monster side who's in control. This raises the question whether he's lost his humanity for good, but to find that out, we have to wait for season 3. Are there any other loose ends we forgot to mention? Let us know and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.